Want to hear a more diverse perspective on art? Tune in to Speaking of Art, the official podcast of Sharjah Art Foundation, featuring conversations with some of the most prominent artists and curators from Asia, Africa, and around the world. Listen to Speaking of Art wherever you get your podcasts.
2020.
Want to hear a more diverse perspective on art? Tune in to Speaking of Art, the official podcast of Sharjah Art Foundation, featuring conversations with some of the most prominent artists and curators from Asia, Africa, and around the world. Listen to Speaking of Art wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Joy News at 6 with me, Maxwell Agbagba. Ghana's COVID-19 infections up by 470 in last night's report, bringing the country's case count to 24,988 and deaths still at 139. COVID is real.
We'll be burying 5 at a go. We're going to bury more. We only want to alert the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
The news is live from digital address GA0993341, available in Accra on Joy 99.7 and Hits 103.9 FM, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, affiliates across Ghana's eastern regions, including ATL FM in the central region, Fafa Radio Volta, Golu 91.7 in the upper west, Kesme FM in the northern region, and Radio Fubisi in the upper east region. Around the world, it is at myjoyonline.com. Coming up, rising tension in Ayaso West Wuogon as NDC parliamentary aspirant there alleges his agents are being attacked at registration centers by persons suspected to be linked to the NPP aspirant Lydia Al-Hassan.
An agent on the ground 2 times in 2 weeks, and we have reported to the police, but we seem not to be getting any report or any action from the police, and we...
Also coming up, police in the eastern region arrest the 20-year-old man over possession of human parts.
Samuel Asari is being investigated for possession of human parts.
Later in business, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers renews call for review of taxes on fuel as new projections warn of further increases in crude oil and finished products. We've got details on the Joy Business Report.
And later in the bulletin, Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu attributes positive cases of COVID-19 in some senior high schools to congestion, as he says closing down schools would be a cowardice approach to dealing with the problem.
Alternatives as to whether we can decongest the schools, send some of the schools to some other schools that have space and things like that. So closing down schools is a coward person's approach, and that is not what we are going to do.
Details as 111 students in 34 schools in the country test positive for the virus. Thanks for your company. Let's start from the camp of the NDC, where the NDC's parliamentary aspirant in the Ayaso West Wuogon constituency, John Dumelo, says his agents monitoring the ongoing registration of voters are being attacked at the registration centers by persons they believe are supporters of NPP aspirant Lydia Al-Hassan. In a statement, the John Dumelo for MP 2020 campaign says agents of the NDC have been brutalized, often in the presence of the police. The constituency was the scene of violent attacks during a by-election last year, which saw the election of the current NPP candidate, Lydia Al-Hassan. Benjamin Avonyoche is the John Dumelo campaign spokesperson.
Okay, individuals who we suspect associate themselves with the institution MP have carried out attack on our observers and agents on the ground 2 times in 2 weeks, and we have reported to the police, but we seem not to be getting any reports or any action from the police, and we just have no other option but begin to raise public attention on this matter, having in mind the events of the by-election, and also to call on people who, really care about the safety of students and the university community to begin to intensify security on campus, because things are really, getting out of hand, and our agents are terrified by the development on the ground. And these individuals we strongly suspect associate themselves with the NP. Yes, I mean the constituency's history, should give us some concern.
Well, the NPP parliamentary candidate there, Lydia Hassan, is yet to respond to these allegations. But yesterday, the National Peace Council issued a warning to the NDC and NPP following attacks at registration centers in parts of the country. Let's go to the Eastern region now, where a 20-year-old man, Samuel Asari, has been arrested by the Eastern Regional Police for unlawful possession of human parts. The suspect's father lodged a complaint to the police after discovering human parts in his son's room. The police, after a search in the suspect's room, found decomposed bones suspected to be human skull, jaw, and ribs. According to the police, the suspect was beaten up by his father and sustained some injuries. Sergeant Francis Gomado is Deputy Eastern Regional Police PRO.
Yes, I can confirm that the Akosobo Divisional Command is currently investigating a case in which a 20-year-old guy by name Samuel Asari, is being investigated for possession of human parts. We just commenced investigations and we've not got into anywhere yet. So we expect the public to cooperate with us, and after which we'll update the public on the issue.
Sergeant Francis Gomado is Deputy Eastern Regional Police PRO. To some COVID-19 issues, the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman-Menu, says positive cases of COVID-19 is as a result of congestion in some senior high schools. At a tour of some health facilities in the Ashanti region, he stated closing down the schools will be a coward's way of responding to the challenge. His comments come on the back of intense pressure, especially from the opposition NDC and Prayer Teachers Association, to close down the schools. Here's a mother whose child is a student at Accra Girls SHS.
Contrary to what we saw sometime last week when 6 of the students were reported to have tested positive, we had parents coming here to withdraw their children from the school. We've not seen that number of parents here today seeking to withdraw their children. It's just a few of them who are worried about the situation and have come here. 2 of them are actually seated inside.
Sorry for the wrong insert there, but the health minister says closing down the schools is not the best approach. Ohim Interior of our health desk has more in this report.
Mr. Agyeman-Menu, who is on a tour of health facilities in the Ashanti region, told journalists congestion accounts for recorded cases in schools.
The senior high schools, I must say there are problems in some areas. But the percentage of where we have challenges wouldn't call for us to close down the schools. We have been saying over and over and over again that we must learn to live with the disease. So the problem is not going back home. Else, what we'll have done? That means that we'll close down schools for how long? Nobody knows when this is going to go away. So we won't run senior high schools in this country any longer. So what we are hearing after investigation is that some of the schools that are getting infections are a bit congested. And we are looking at alternatives as to whether we can decongest the schools, send some of the schools to some other schools that have space, and things like that. So closing down schools is defeatist. It's a coward person's approach. And that is not what we are going to do. We'll fight the disease and protect everybody, ourselves and our children.
The Ghana Health Service says out of 400,000 students in school, only 111 in 34 schools across the country have tested positive from COVID-19. Dr. Patrick Abuaje is Director General.
We have systems in place that be able to pick them quickly and identify them. Besides, we've just had of the more than 400,000 students who have gone back to school. We are recording about 111 cases, sporadic cases across the country from 34 schools. So I don't think there's enough fear for us to rush into anything.
Ohim Interior reporting.
Ohim Interior's report, but we can now hear the parents of the Accra Girls SHS calling for the closing down of schools.
Why is it that if the schools are having a problem, why wouldn't they close it down? What can I do? What can I do? We have been talking. The PTA, everybody is saying it, but they still don't want to release their children. I'm worried because I have only one daughter. They should release my daughter for me. That's all.
She's your only daughter?
Yes.
But don't you think she's safer on campus rather?
They should test them and release them. If you test them and they are negative, release them. They should do that.
Well, meanwhile, government says it has adopted a threshold that will inform the decision to close down schools if COVID-19 cases go beyond 15%. We can hear from Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy.
If you have 500 students in a school, if you get 35, that amounts to 7% of the number. We as a government, there are 2 things that can make us consider a particular school, either making them go home and block to write from home, or find a way to deal with them separate. The allowed percent is 7%. If you have a 40 or 15% of the positivity rate, it is a red flag.
Alarming.
And then the second one, which is even the most important category, is when morbidity is more than half of the number you have. If half of your cases are sick, it means there might be many out there that you've not picked.
Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okuboy speaking on Ikusi saying on our sister station Asempa FM. But the Ghana Education Service also says it is working various options to ensure COVID-19 positive final year senior high school students do not miss out on the West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examination. Here is Director General Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa.
In the worst scenario where they are not able to join their colleagues, there are various options that are available for them. If they are not able to write, the nearest examination, same examination, the nearest one will make arrangements with WAEC for them.
Want to hear a more diverse perspective on art? Tune in to Speaking of Art, the official podcast of Sharjah Art Foundation, featuring conversations with some of the most prominent artists and curators from Asia, Africa, and around the world. Listen to Speaking of Art wherever you get your podcasts.
To be able to write. And when that comes, that cost will still be borne by government.
Well, the Executive Director of ARC Foundation, Anja